Hi, I'm Yasmin Owusu, and this is my producer, Charlie Kesenek.
But I'm your husband, and you're using all my stuff right now. What are you talking about?
So anyway, I've been looking for a one-stop shop podcast for wellness, amateur sociology, psychology, pop culture, and whatever else sparks my interest. So I created one. We are limited to no lanes. We hit the gas and get into it. This is Peaked. Press play. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to Peaked.
Thank you.
Back on the pink poof.
Back in action. Well, they can't see that, but yeah, I am on a very poofy pink object right now.
He is. He's
pretty
elevated on a poof. On a tuffet? Could we say you're on a tuffet, little Miss Muffet?
Definitely say that I am on a tuffet. Thank you. That makes me feel confident and ready to start.
Perfect. Well, so we did go to a wedding yesterday.
We went to a wedding. I played guitar and sang as the bride went down the aisle. I was quite honored, I must say. Shout out to Taylor and Brenda. Congratulations.
You sang a little, yes, congratulations to that, but it was really fun.
It was a really
fun wedding.
Really fun wedding.
In LaGrange. Ha, 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 ha.
You can't say it without.
I know. It was ZZ Top fame.
You have to.
Yeah, there's a little whorehouse there at some point, apparently. Anyway, we'll move on.
It's chill.
Good
Great place
wedding,
to get married, yeah.
Good week, last week, and now we're in a fresh week.
So fresh.
And let's talk about what's on our minds, or what's on our nerves, what's in our butts, what's in our eyes.
What was that other?
What's that?
That one thing you said?
In our eyes?
Not that one, but
I don't know what you mean. Anyway, what's on your nerves or on your mind?
I'm gonna do it on my mind today.
Okay.
Against contrary opinion. Actually, it's on my nerves too. It's always both. Mm-hmm. I'm a man of both worlds.
I don't know if it needs the on your mind. It could just be what's on your mind, right?
Like,
For
you
better
don't have
or
to
worse.
qualify it.
Yeah. Anyway, we've come this far with it.
There's nothing more annoying to me than being told by everyone on earth that I should listen to a certain artist and or album.
Mm-hmm. I know who you're about to talk about.
It's... Shut up. Yeah, it's super annoying. Mm-hmm. They're always wrong. But even more annoying is when they're right. And Geese is getting killed. Geese is the name of the band. I saw apostrophe. That was like an apostrophe S, like
Geese
ownership.
Geese
is the name of the band.
Yeah.
The album is called Getting Killed.
Yeah. Let's just be really clear that Charlie does not think the plural of goose is geeses.
It definitely sounded like that.
It did.
That album's really good.
Okay.
A lot of people are saying it. Mm-hmm. Probably because it really, really is.
It is.
And it's like I'm 37, still trying to like jumpstart my music career. Mm-hmm. And these children straight out of high school got a huge record deal.
Run your own race.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm obviously talking about right now. I'm unking hard right now.
Hard on Geese's.
They're killing it. This album is so good. It's so intense and it's so like youthful and so weird and so it's great. It's a great album. Yeah,
you played a few songs of it for me in the car when we were driving from LaGrange, just like an hour 15 or something. And I did enjoy the songs I heard, and I think we can all take solace in the fact that they're not Australian at the very least.
Oh my God. There you go. There's on my mind. There's on my nerves right there. Yeah. Australia taking over all of indie rock. Thank God. How can you believe it? A band from New York actually made a good album and is actually being covered in the press. Like, wow.
Yeah. You know, and I know that I'm being a hater or whatever, but what really bothers me about the Australian explosion, if you want to call it that, is that they're just singing our shit back to us.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like the refining of Americanized music and packaging and selling it back to us. Repackaging and selling it back to us. I think that's why they're taking our jobs. People are really like worried about ICE and this and that and the other, but it is Australians that are taking our jobs.
I am calling ICE daily every time I meet an Australian person.
Mm-hmm. They're taking acting jobs. They're walking around with that sus sounding accent all the time, you know, where it's like kind of close, but you know something's just a little bit off. Nicole Kidman, we're looking at you.
They were taking all the bartending jobs in New York.
All the bartending jobs.
It's so annoying.
None of the bar backing ones.
And they call me Chole.
Half the time they're not even legal to be in the country.
Chole.
People are paying them under... Oh, the Chole thing. That could have been on your nerves. I know you hate that.
I think, I like posted about that on Instagram.
Chole?
Chole.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
God. maybe that's what's on my nerves is Australian people.
Do it. Go in.
No, that's it. I don't want to give them any more attention than they're already getting. It's so funny. I have like family members that are Australian, but we can move on.
By the way, we love you, Australia.
No, we don't. This is not Australia. This is not Australia Stan account.
I'm just kidding.
What is on my nerves or on my? We all know it's going to be on my nerves, right? No, what's on my mind?
Oh,
what's on my mind?
You don't have to quantify it yet.
Oh my God, I'm quantifying.
Go for it.
I guess I've been thinking a lot about what's happening to language and how that's bothering me. And I understand, I understand language is an evolving thing. And I do understand that, like, as a Taurus and, pedantic, pretentious, annoying person, I do like to correct language a lot. I get that. But there are certain just words that are nonsensically being used to mean other things or being misused. And it's not for any a good reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one thing when like a word evolves or it kind of meshes with another one to like make it a whole new meaning. And I really enjoy that. Like there's a lot of words that turns of phrase I find really like fun and colorful and they make sense. And then there's just starting to say that something is aesthetic.
You don't like that
I
one?
don't know. Why? There is a meaning to something being aesthetically pleasing and it's a nice aesthetic or whatever it is. Or, just saying that something is aesthetic, it's just nonsensical. I don't know why we need to do that.
Yeah.
And using a part to mean
that's not okay.
Yeah. So I know that some of you who are going to be listening to this have been doing this. And so let me just like really sit up straight. APART means separate from, apart.
Mm-hmm.
This hand is coming apart from that hand, right? Mm-hmm. A part, like I'm happy to be one part of something, means to be included. So it's almost like they are actually opposite things, but people are using a part, like I am a part, one part of something. They're using the word a with a space and part to mean APART.
Yeah.
And that is just complete nonsense. And I'm not going to freaking put up with it anymore.
I'm so excited to be apart from this company. It's like, you just
I
got the
was really
job
happy to be a part of the celebration. And they write it as a part. So you're happy to be separated from it. It doesn't make any sense. And it keeps happening. And it seems like it's just really picked up steam. And there's another one that you pointed out every day.
Oh, yeah. What did I?
So like, as the Arrested Development once said, I am everyday people, right? There are everyday items. There are everyday, like, it's one word, right? To mean that it's something that is very commonplace.
Right.
And then there's every day.
Yeah.
Like I go walk my dog every day. These are two different things. You can't say I go walk my dog one word every day.
Every day.
That's not.
I walk my dog every day.
Yeah.
No.
So these are not things that are helping us make language more interesting or expanding things into like, more colloquial vernacular. This is just mistakes that are being perpetuated and it's just like being illiterate.
And it's probably Australians who are at the forefront.
I mean, I'm going to say it is, whether it is or not.
It's definitely Australians.
I'm throwing all of that. The New Zealand in there too. They're also.
New Zealand is
They're cropping up. They're slightly less annoying.
They're on notice.
Yeah.
But Australians are, it's over.
I love those Haka videos. But, those are the native.
That's what I'm saying.
It's different. Yeah.
They're cool.
Yeah.
Zane Lowe, you got to go.
I don't know who that is.
He's like a music critic guy.
Definitely got to go.
Yeah.
Zane.
Please have me on your show, Zane Lowe. Yeah.
Anyway, so those are on our mind, on our heart, on our nerves, and our butt. Anyway, that's
was the last one?
Nerves?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So anyway, we are today going to talk about, you'd think we would have discussed this a little bit more to this point. A little bit, our move and why and how from New York City. Charlie is like, oh my God, she's talking about language. What is going on here?
And why and how.
Going to speak of the why, hows, not wheres because it's built in. But anyway, our move from New York City to Austin.
Why did we do it?
Why did we leave? How did we leave? What are our individual reasons?
Quickly as possible.
Yeah. Do you want to start us off here? Do you want to? Let's just talk about why you were there in the first place.
Yeah,
a little
sure.
bit.
That's a good point, right? Because neither of us, I think it's a key point to this conversation that neither of us like fully intended to move to New York.
Yes.
So I moved there with a band that I was playing in that was, I don't know, trying to do stuff and had a budget, and so they're like, we're going to New York. If you wanted the gravy train to keep rolling, you got to come to New York.
And you're 20?
I turned 21 that year. So I was 20, summer before I turned 21.
So always legal to go to bars while you're in New York?
Not the first 2 months, but after that. So, yeah, I moved there when I was 20. And, I did not, that was not a place I ever intended to live at all. For sure not. And I don't know, when I got there, we actually talked about Red Hook a little bit on our last episode. Yeah. I lived in Red Hook and I liked it, but it was actually pretty difficult to afford, and so I moved out after a year. I broke up with the band, left the band, and went out. And then it's like, now I just needed a job. Yeah. Like a real job.
Because the music was paying you, which is kind of rare, especially for someone that age. Yeah. And Red Hook, by the way, if you missed last time we were talking about it, it's an area of the borough of Brooklyn.
Yep. Right. Yeah. I was living in Brooklyn, in Red Hook. And so then I started the service industry and teaching kind of more or less simultaneously. And it was tough. And we'll talk about it.
Was there somewhere you did picture living? Like, I know you went to college in the same town you're from. Like, you went to Berklee School of Music, and that's in the Boston area. It's in Boston. Yeah. And you're from the Boston area. Yep. So was there somewhere before you got into Berklee, whatever, was there a city that you thought about living in?
I think, well, honestly, I was interested in living in a more rural area. I wanted to move to the country.
Really? That young, huh?
Yeah. I mean, even more than before I realized, like, you'd have to be in a city if you wanted to have a music career. Yeah. Most likely. I mean, like really profitable one in any sense of the way. But, so I kind of wanted to live in a rural area. And if I was going to live in a city, it was probably going to be LA or something West Coast, I think.
Was that like a weather thing or?
Yeah, weather. Yeah. I don't know. People kept asking me if I was from the West Coast when I was at Berklee.
That's because you're blonde.
Yeah, that's probably it. I don't know. They were like, "Yeah, you're kind of vibing more West Coast." And I was like, "Oh, maybe that's for me then." And I don't know, but yeah. And then it's like I wasn't really like New York. It seemed like at Berklee, it's like the hardcore jazz kids were like, New York is the only way, and I was like very turned off by the hardcore jazz kids. Yeah. So I was like, maybe not. But then I ended up there, and so it goes.
Well, you went essentially for a job. Like your job transferred you to New York, and in my case, like I didn't really think like I was not coming from the States, first of all, right? Like I went to high school in Uganda because, my parents' diplomatic work, that's where I lived. But I'm an American citizen, so I was going to come to college in the United States. Like that was always just a predetermined thing. But I didn't really have too many preconceived notions or ideas because I didn't spend that much time in this country. So I didn't, I've been to Florida, I've been to New York a little bit, but like, in a touristy way. So I didn't really have this like very solidified idea of like American countries. So I was like, I just kind of picked Seattle randomly. It was nowhere near. I have family in the Massachusetts area. I had some kind of distant family in the Bronx in New York, but nobody lived in the Pacific Northwest. And I think maybe partially I just wanted to just go out on my own. And part of me was like some of the bands I liked when I was in high school, like were from there or whatever. So I got into 3 schools. It's not like I had like the pick of the litter, right? I think I had like Connecticut somewhere, I know, right? In the Boston area, but I don't even think it was Boston proper. It was like a college called Drew. Anyway, and then one in Seattle, and I just went for the Seattle one. Again, not with a whole lot of thought, but I do think that I could easily say that I was not attracted to like an LA, a Miami, a New York City. I would not have been attracted to such a primary city. Yeah. That did sound like an overwhelming, crowded prospect to me. And I didn't think about the cost, probably because, I was a ding dong who was like really young. So it wasn't really a cost prohibitive thing. It was more just like it felt like not my personality to be in such a like competitive, like strivey, make it kind of space, you know? Like people go to LA and they're like, I want to be an actor. I want to make it. I want to make it big. And people go to New York and they're like, I want to be ready. You know, there's like that thing that's not my wavelength, you know? So those places didn't appeal to me for that reason. But, you know, I was in Seattle and I dropped out of college and I was just kind of living there and didn't really know what I was doing next, right? And my family were just like, well, go somewhere near where you have family. My sister was living in New York City, and so I ended up moving in with her in her apartment. Eventually we got our own place together, and that's how it started. And 15 years later, there I still was. And we're definitely going to get into how that happens when a place maybe was never quite your vibe, right? And, you know, I don't want it to be a completely just like taking a dump on New York podcast, because I had a lot of good years and good times there. But the core of this conversation is that I don't know that I was ever even supposed to really be there. You know, in many ways, I'm glad I was. There's like a lot of, I don't know, parts of my personality and parts of my, I don't know, just self that developed necessarily because I was there, right? Like, do you have a similar or completely different outlook?
It was tough. It was a struggle. I mean, we
like
often...
From jump?
I think as soon as I had to start working in the service industry, it started to be...
That's around when I met you, I think.
Yeah. And that was great. You know, obviously meeting you was amazing. And I loved... I was about to be like, I loved being able to leave easily. Now, like to go to Philly, I can get to Boston in 3 hours. I could get upstate to go hiking really quickly. But it was kind of like I was just always plotting like how can I live here with like while living here as little as possible.
Yeah, I think I kind of fell into step with you with that when we met. So like we're different ages. Like Charlie at this time is like 21, 22.
Early 20s, 22, 23.
22, 23. And I'm like 27, 28.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like I'm 6 years older. So I met him around that stage when he's just leaving this band. We're working at a restaurant together and like, you know, hilarity ensues or whatever. But so at this point, I've lived in New York since I was around 22 or 23. I have a really hard time with chronology. I don't give energy to numbers. But let's say really early 20s. And now I'm in my, you know, late 20s is like when I'm kind of linking up with Charlie and getting to know him. And that's maybe around when I started to solidify ideas that like I maybe didn't super want to be there, right? Before that, when I first got to New York, when I first moved in with my sister, I did struggle living there. Like I didn't, it was overwhelming. Like it was, first of all, it was like the first time that I'm getting a job and I'm hopping off and on of subways and there's people around all the time. And like Seattle, because I was in a college environment, even when I moved into my own apartment, it was way more of an insulated environment.
That makes sense.
Of course there are people walking around on the street, but it's not at least when I was living there, it wasn't a very crowded place. And if you kind of didn't want to interact, you sort of weren't going to have to. And you could largely just be around people that you knew and your friends. And it was pretty walkable too. So like there wasn't like that element of like just, you know, sitting on a subway car with whoever. And it's not this big bad. It feels like it's a city that feels like a small town. I mean, it's pretty walkable if you're in like certain central areas. It's a larger area than just like, you know, where it's walkable, like there's West Seattle and but much like a Philly or something, there is kind of a condensed area that a lot of younger people and college students live in that is like super walkable and you can just get around easily. And so it felt, I don't want to say safer because it's not in terms of crime. It felt safer in terms of scope, size, and like knowability, right? Whereas New York City feels like big, dense, and unknowable in a way. Like you can never get to know all of it and you can always feel a little bit lost. And it was hard for me to get to know people. I didn't find that it was super easy to make friends at my job my first couple years. And I was just kind of following my sister around doing whatever she was doing socially. And we at that stage, didn't have necessarily the same wavelength of what we wanted to do socially. Like she was going to like these really big, like still talk about them clubs, right?
Oh God.
And
my
that's
nightmare in life.
I mean, I don't think it would be Nadia's scene now, but she was, her and her friends are just these young, pretty, like modelly girls, and they're just going to clubs and they're, getting bought bottles by promoters. And like, it wasn't my scene, you know what I mean? But I was going because I wanted to leave my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of a struggle until I kind of like found my own thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's so
yeah, chapter 2 for me was, I mean, like, I guess I'm thinking about that, and it's like I basically had like a falling out with this band. So I'm like, I was literally on a couch for, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that. With JoJo. Shout out JoJo. Good man. Thank you for letting me stay. And like reality check is like seeing the type of apartments that I could afford at that time, like basically closets,
Yeah.
And I actually ended up in a really good situation, right? It was a tiny room, as you know and remember well.
Yeah. When we started dating, we both ended up essentially living in this like minuscule room together.
Yeah. But it was it had a back door that went into an actual yard in Brooklyn, which like never happens. So that was nice. Like had outdoor space, and it kind of, probably to the chagrin of our roommates, had like, I had the access, and like people would walk through the room freely, but they had to go through my room, which I'm sure was uncomfortable for them and like very comfortable for me, because it's just like, it's my little patio. It was great.
Yeah. I was still smoking at the time. I was living. I was like kicking that back door open, taking down a coffin nail.
Yeah. It was centrally located. What would you say that walk was to the subway? 3 minutes?
If that.
It was so,
he was on
so amazing.
Franklin Avenue in Crown Heights. And this is a very golden age moment in Crown Heights. I know it's even gentrified now to like it's gone past, it's jumped the shark.
Yeah,
to
but it was
going
like,
a little past cool. This is like where it's like early Williamsburg. It's like it's still super fun. There's some restaurants, but it still has this like little identity of its own. But everything on that street is like fun and walkable, and like just people just being young and doing stuff on it. And the subways were like chef's kiss. If you're a person who knows New York, being on the 2, 3, 4, 5, those are express trains. They come every 5 minutes and they get you in the city in like seconds. They can get you around Brooklyn too pretty easily. Yeah. They go side to side. They connect you with all the crosstowns. It was like it was a good
it was a pretty good situation.
Yeah.
And the rent was cheap. The rent was like super cheap.
$550 or something crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. When Charlie had a brief moment of learning to build guitars
and
in
so
Michigan.
I don't know, it's hard. I haven't even thought about that in so long. But I had like, I mean, so even despite that being a pretty good situation, I'm kind of like, how do I get out of New York? And so I went to a guitar building school, kind of hoping I would parlay it to be able to move to like Woodstock. And there's a couple builders there. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of...
that's upstate New York.
Yeah, I was kind of like, all right, if this can get me to upstate New York, that would be great. That didn't work out. And so then I was just basically back in New York. And I also realized kind of... Basically, it was like I had this romantic idea of like working with hand tools and like feeling, like a great carpenter and like doing this intimate thing, and then you realizing that, of course, in the modern age, like if you want to build guitars, like you're using CNC machines and like laser cutting things, and it's just like all this crap that is just like doing as much of the work as you can possibly get it to do, and then you do like a little of this, and it's basically factory work. And I'm like, well, this is not at all what I got into this for. And if I like, so A, there's probably no avenue to do it the way that I was hoping to do it. And B, even if I was going to try to go that route, then it would be just as hard as trying to be a musician.
Which is something you want to do more.
And I was like, I mean, I definitely my heart was more in music. And I was like, I've been working on this craft for over a decade at that point. So I'm like, maybe I should just keep it. I was way back. I never touched power tools when I went to guitar building school.
Yeah, that's
true.
It
was crazy. I was just like, I can learn anything.
But in fairness, you did well enough to be offered, a position, however temporary, in Michigan.
Yeah,
but like, he went to guitar building school months into us dating.
It was about a year. Anyway.
Maybe it was about, I mean, it was serious enough that we decided to keep dating, and we did a whole Zoom thing, and I took over his sublet, until he moved back. So we were solid enough to like make that plan. And the plan was when he came back to continue seeing each other. But it was also like new enough that it was like, could have been potentially dicey, right?
Yeah. But I will say that, like, just to tie it all together, I did, when I came back, I tried to like start a little shop, because a friend of mine had his dad worked for a building management company. So they had a spot in Union Square, 18th Street or 19th Street, I think. And it was like a unair conditioned basement and also unheated basement. And I started this shop down there, and I was trying to like truck people's guitars back and forth in my car, like trying to park in Union Square. It was like $16 to park for an hour or something like that. And that was one of those moments where I was like, this place is like, even if someone gives you a free space, like, it's untenable.
Nothing's free.
It's so impossible. And it was like, I actually was building a bass for a client, and I never finished it. Like, and I came so close, but it was like I hit
axe thing. Yeah. You're making.
Yeah. It was like a Adventure Time,
like
that girl's bass.
Oh, yeah.
But like, and I got so close, but I just hit like one problem, and I was like, I can't keep spending money on tools that aren't going to make me, like, I'd already gotten the commission for it, and it was like, this is not ever going to pay for itself. And I'm just like, was just losing tons of money, and it was just like so horribly stressful. And it was one of those moments where I was like, this is not a place to start something on the skinny. Like, you need a lot of capital to do anything in New York.
There's weight to everything you try to do too. Like, that is something that I think people should really consider if they're going to move there. Again, like, I definitely had a difficult first couple of years in New York City, but then I kind of met a few people at jobs, and one of my best friends from Seattle, my friend Craig, moved to New York, and that definitely like opened up the city for me, because we just kind of like started hanging out a lot. And then I met this other girl at this cupcake place that I was working, and like, she kind of introduced me to this not super I don't know how to call it, like what to call it. It's like that era, people were going to clubs like Bed and Metro, and like they're these big like clubs. It's like in LA, it'd be like going to like, I don't know clubs anymore. But let's just say they're huge, and they have huge clubs. Promoters, and it's very mainstream, let's say. And that's where like models and actors would be going, kind of thing. But then my friend that I met, who we've recently fallen out, but anyway, she kind of introduced me more to this like more alternative scene. And it was like, at that time, Lower East Side, people are calling it the indie sleaze or whatever kind of situation. Now they're calling it that. But yeah, it was it was more of like an indie like partying scene. And yes, there were clubs, and yes, there were promoters. It's just a different slant, a different crowd, that whole thing. It was Bushwick, it was Williamsburg. I mean, Bushwick was a lot later, actually. It was Williamsburg, a little bit of Greenpoint, Lower East Side. That's kind of where it lived. And then there were some parties that were nothing above Flatiron, but there were some that were a little bit higher, but we rarely went to those. Anyway, played a lot of rock music, that kind of thing. So I got into that, and I just partied hard, and that was super fun, but also has its challenges when you're just someone who spends your entire paycheck on going out, and it's just like throwing IDs all over the Lower East Side and losing them, and IDs trying to get into clubs with like Asian people's IDs or whatever the heck, because your friend works at Buffalo Exchange and people leave them there, and you're like, this is me, and it's like a Filipino woman. So yeah, I had those chaotic years that were super fun, but also I'm sure anyone who's had like a heavy partying phase can tell you there are just crushingly lonely and lost moments when you're in that scene, where you just feel like, am I even a real person? Do I exist during the day? What am I doing with my life? But then you go out and you have fun, and that's just 3 years like that. And then one day you realize maybe you're aging out of it, and you have to pivot out of that. All that to say, within that, okay, so that's we'll shelve that as like that was the first couple of years.
The golden years.
Those were the golden years. A huge part of living in New York City is everything is a pain in the ass. I don't know how to say it in a sweeter, kinder way.
Yeah. I feel like even the diehard New Yorkers love it would agree with you wholeheartedly.
For sure. Yeah. I have many, New York is not for anyone. Yeah. It's not for many people.
Right.
But there are people who really just love it, are lifers, live there, thrive, and like, God bless you. For me, I think if I had it to do again, probably I just wouldn't live there, period. But if I was going to live there, I would have lived there when I was my college age.
Yeah.
And hopefully have left by the time I was 25. Like right around when I started slowing down going out, a little bit before I met you. So 25, 26, when I started to be like, all right, we need to not go out like Monday through Sunday. Around then is probably when I would have happily aged out of living there. Totally. And a huge part of that is just the fucking schlep. To use a New York word, everything you want to do is schlep. Like you want to go grocery shopping, you're going with a old lady cart, and like you're going from your house probably, if you're not extremely moneyed, is 15, 20, whatever minutes from the subway, and you're dragging this thing and you're going up these stairs and you're going down these stairs, you find an elevator and it's broken, it's full of piss. Then you finally get to the grocery store, you got to load it in. It's just, everything is a pain in the ass. You're like, I'm going to go to the beach. Famous last words. Good luck. You're on Coney Island F,
There's a movie about them trying to get to the beach, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. What is it called?
I forget. But
Oh God. Everyone should watch this movie if you are a person who's lived in New York City. It hits all the marks.
Or if you're thinking about moving there.
We lived in this area, Ditmas, and it touches on how that area is just known for Sufjan Stevens living there for some brief amount of time. And then also how you lose all your friends when you live in these like South Brooklyn places. Like for some reason, so Brooklyn's huge. It's a huge borough. And, there's some areas of Queens that connect to it as well. So we'll just add that to the situation. I mean, there's like Ridgewood and like, technically, what's it called? There's Long Island City. There's like anyway, it's a huge landmass, right? And for whatever reason, it's acceptable to live in the northern part of it. However far you get. You can live into Bushwick, where you're borderline in another state and people are like down to go. But if you live really south, that's old school Brooklyn and people don't want to go.
No, you can't be.
So if you're anywhere south of Park Slope, pariah, no one's coming to your house. Good luck to you. They don't even know what those trains are. They're like, what the hell's an R? Like they're like, nobody knows what that is. Like nobody will come visit you. And God help you if you live below Bay Ridge. We were lucky to even be just Ditmas.
There's a below Bay Ridge?
Oh, if you want to get into Marine Park, you want to get into Bensonhurst, I mean, you're done. That's like living in a different state.
Yeah.
Like no one is coming to see you. Unless you're a native, and I'm sure they have like a very thriving life.
They have their own thing.
But if you are a transplant and, just a young kid living as a transplant in New York, your friends are not going to visit you if you live below Park Slope. And that is just facts. Even Park Slope can be a stretch.
Yeah.
But everything is a pain in the ass. And that movie, Fort Tilden, that's what it's called. Oh, hilarious. Yeah. It's about these girls trying to get to the beach and it's just nuts.
Well, you're saying everything's a schlep. And that makes me think of like we used to say, like, I don't know how we used to say it, but it's like it feels like the city does not want you to be there.
It's like, hostile to you.
It's hostile. Yeah. Every turn, every motion, every whim, every idea, every thought you have is followed by like some crushing force that is either like the government or the society of just like the organized collective of New York is just like, it's just pushing you down all the time, just pushing, whatever you want to do. New York has a reason why you cannot. And that's why it's like the whole like make it here, make it anywhere thing. But it's inhospitable. Like it is brutal.
It's like, it's not mandatory to make it here though. I think that's what people need. If you really do want that hustle bustle, and some people love the chaos, they love the challenge, but you don't have to do that, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be hard. Right. And moving to Texas really showed me that. Like, it's just more our wavelength.
Yeah.
And I think just the police presence of it all in New York City, everything you do is is not allowed.
It's a ticketable offense.
Yeah, everything is a ticketable offense. I mean, I've had friends who were, I almost said arrested, like I'm prone to exaggeration.
Well, you had a friend who
My friend was given
arrested.
a ticket because they were having drinks on their roof.
Right. And then
so this is a roof of an apartment building that's a 6th floor walk up. I'll tell you the other. But I've had friends that had a ticket that were on a rooftop. I don't know if this cop had a helicopter, how the heck they saw them up there. And I mean, as far as they were concerned, their landlord said they could go up there. There was deck chairs and stuff, but they got ticketed somehow.
But that was like a public, is it a public, something like that?
Yeah, I guess it's not really a zoned roof or whatever. So they got ticketed for that. I've had friends who were ticketed for drinking on their stoop.
Yep.
I mean, you know what I mean? And it's like the brown bag thing. Like if you have a brown bag, supposedly you're fine, but you can get stop and search for no reason. And then it's an open container ticket and whatever.
It was all open container tickets.
Open container tickets, exactly. And then that progresses to years later. My friend who got ticketed on this roof then gets caught as they're getting to their house. So they're riding their bike legally in their bike lane in Red Hook. Here we're back in Red Hook. Hop onto the sidewalk and it's a big wide sidewalk in Red Hook. Lots of space to walk. Hop onto it just to go into their gate, and they get ticketed for having their bike on the sidewalk. And they had an unpaid ticket from when they got the ticket on the roof, and they take them into jail that day.
We went to Rikers, right?
Was it Rikers?
I swear it was something like that.
I think it was
obviously not. Like
I think it was that downtown
pop,
Brooklyn jail, which is not fun.
I made that up.
But I was stuck there with like no food. I mean, can you imagine hopping your bike?
They took him to Guantanamo Bay.
Was he supposed to carry it on his shoulder? He just glided it over. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, we're worried about jaywalking, like all the things you're worried about, just like getting ticketed for, and like those are like whatever misdemeanor tickets, but it's just every little thing is a problem.
Yep. And then there was the street sweeping, owning a car.
Oh my God. We called it the monster who just like eats your money if you don't wake up at 7 a.m. and move your car.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. We're trying to make our lives better by having a car. Yeah. Everyone takes the subway and whatever, and we did all that. But we're like, maybe we can do day trips and maybe it'll be easier for certain things to have a car. But continue. What happens if you have a car, Charlie?
So let's break it down. They sweep the streets twice a week, which somehow does not make the streets any cleaner at all.
None.
If anything, it seems to make them
dirtier than here.
I don't know how.
We don't have street sweeping here.
Just like shoots cups and fucking wrappers, blunt wrappers everywhere. Mm-hmm. Blunt wrappers all over the fucking world. Just shoots them all onto everyone's stoops and then like back into the street. I don't know. It's unbelievable. And then so they do this twice a week. So you have to, it's like one of those things too. This is one of those interesting things of like, it's like technically illegal to do this, but you have to take your car and put it on the side of the street that they're not sweeping. Right. So you have to set your alarm. You have to know where your car is. You have to know if this sweeper is coming in the morning or not. Mm-hmm. The monster, he's coming. Yes. Right. Because if you don't move your car, then it's like a $60 ticket. Right. It was $45 for a while. I think it went up to $60.
I think it went up to $60 while we were living there. And like Charlie was saying, when
God
you move it to the other side, you're technically double parking.
You're double parking
because of course there's another car there. This is New York. There's no parking spots. Yep. So you're moving it just next to another car.
Yep.
Double parked. Somehow that's less illegal than leaving it convoluted.
And so then you have to move your car back. So you got to set the alarm for an hour and a half exactly. Mm-hmm. You got to do the dance, and you got to do this twice a week. You have to be
twice a week, 2 times in that day.
No.
Well, no, because you have to.
Because you have to do.
You have to move it back. You have to move your car
away and move it back,
and then you have to move it back. And if you move your car and then you forget to move it back, that's ticket 2.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing, and those tickets are hefty. And it's really funny now that we live in Texas, when we go downtown. I mean, we're talking about moving your car in Ditmas. Again, we talked about how sticks, deep Brooklyn, South Brooklyn, that is. But we also had the pleasure of living where every cab driver works and lives. So that means that there's cars everywhere and everyone has a car, because this is like, it's a very international area. So it's called Little Pakistan.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Pakistani and Bangladeshi and the Desi people were Uber and cab drivers. Yep. And so they live there. And so all their cars are parked there. And so it's impossible to park, and it's nuts. So Charlie often would be circling blocks after working at a bar until 4 a.m. He'd be circling for another hour trying to find a spot that that it would be easy to move the car around for this monster that's coming in the morning.
Forget it. At that point, you're just trying to find any spot. And so you're like up. Yeah, you're up till 5 a.m. And then it's like you got to be up at 7 a.m.
You may as well sleep in the car.
Basically.
And try to move it before the Minute Maid or the ticket maid comes around.
That's how it was absolutely fucked.
It's fucked.
There's no other word for it.
It felt
it's
like
insane.
it was just an exercise in control and nothing else because it wasn't cleaning the street.
It was insane. It was a revenue creator, and I swear all these things they do it because it's a big revenue creator for the city, and it's absolutely diabolical. And people are like, oh, don't have a car in New York. Then it's like, okay, but I'm a musician, like. I have drums, like I'm a drummer. So it's like, and like if you're worth your salt, you're trying to tour a bit. Like, so
I'm trying to tour it. I'm not a musician. I'm living in New York City. I'm stressed out. I need to go upstate. I need to, get to Boston. I need to go to the beach. I don't want to be on the Feng Hua bus all the time. So we had a car so we could live in New York, but also get out of New York, but it came with its weight. Everything has its weight. You think that you can hack something in New York, there's no hack. There's no cheating. It's going to get you every time. And crazy things happen that are your last straw every day. You'll get on the subway, you put your $20 bill to buy your ticket in, and it'll just eat your money. Yep. And then shoot out a little receipt that says, sorry, I ate your money. Send this in the mail and you'll be So now you have this crazy errand where you're going to the post office because that thing, the subway machine just took your money.
It's gone.
And maybe you don't have any more.
You probably don't.
And now what? Then you jump the turnstile. That's a ticket too. And if you had any other tickets, you're going to jail. You're going to jail tonight, man.
New York. I was just thinking, I was like, Frank had the mob. Frank is like all these songs about how much he loves New York. I'm like, you had the mob on your side.
I know. God, and I'm sure it was a different
that's
time.
What you need.
I mean,
you
he's
need
in
the
a
mob.
Lincoln Town Car, whatever he's doing, but that's not our situation. We're on these streets, sir.
It's like, you can make it here if you kick up to the dawn,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
If you're their favorite singer.
But there's just so many ways that living here, you just stop thinking about stuff like that.
Texas,
no one is really trying to catch you doing anything. And we were hyper vigilant about every little thing we did. We got a dog and we're always like, oh my God, he's took him off leash for a second to poop. Someone's going to come out of the, weeds and yell at us. And nobody's actually trying to catch you doing anything.
Never.
And if they have to tell you something, they don't want to. If they can let you just slide with something, they will.
They will.
And it's the opposite in New York. Nobody wants to let you slide with anything. They want to catch you. They're incentivized to catch you. They're paid to catch you. They got quotas to catch your ass slipping.
Yes.
And it wears on you after a while. It's a PTSD. And again, I cannot emphasize enough how everything you do is just going to take you extra time and extra effort. You're just going to be like, oh, you know what? I heard about this little coffee shop. I want to check it out. Trials and tribulations, and several hours later, you're just like, why did I embark upon this journey? I could have just stayed my ass home. And we all had a joke too that the second you put a toe out of your house in New York City, $100 bleeds out.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't know how, but it costs you money to. And I'm not saying that Austin is affordable. Let's not get crazy. But you could, I guess, just gas yourself up to go take your dog on a hike and maybe it won't cost you $7 billion. I mean, you could get in and out of that for free or cheap.
If you're going out in Austin, that same thing happens. But what the difference is, you won't also have $10, $60 tickets stacking up from not moving the car because you were just trying to sleep.
And if you decide to go meet your friends who live in South Austin or whatever, you get your Uber back after having a few drinks and you're home in 18 minutes tops. And by the way, complaining about that 18 minutes because you get so spoiled living in Austin that things are just, you feel entitled to 10 minutes. So when it's anything over 10 minutes, you're like, oh, 20 minutes to,
oh my God, 25 minutes.
I dreamed of 20 minutes in New York. If anything ever took me 20 minutes in New York, I'd be on a high for a month. I'd be talking about that trip. I was like, it took me 20 minutes to get there. Everything was an hour. Everything 100%. Was an hour if you're lucky.
Yeah. And that wears on you too. You're like, I have no time. All my time is spent just getting from this one place to the next place. It's just,
tell me, do you want to travel an hour to go hang out somewhere for 2 hours and then travel back an hour?
No.
Does the math sound good to you?
No.
You're going to go hang out at this restaurant for an hour and your travel amounts to 2 hours total.
Yeah, so the whole time you're just sitting on a subway. And nobody has anything good to say about sitting on a subway, do they?
I've seen some things. Everyone's been in the stink car. Everyone's been in the no lights, the no AC, the someone vomited, the guy's brandishing a knife car. We've all been in all of these cars.
The lighter, the guy smoking.
Showtime.
Smoking guy.
Almost getting kicked in the head. We've all been there.
Getting kicked in the head.
Well, I haven't had that one.
It never happened to me, but I've definitely seen people get hit a little. Maybe not like knocked, not like KO'd or anything, but I've seen some slip-ups.
People be tapped.
Yeah, I've seen some amateur Showtime. Showtime is when the guys, these dudes roll onto the train and then they do backflips and stuff. I'm sure you've all seen this. Social media. Showtime. What time is it?
Showtime.
Yeah,
it is showtime.
So they do it every time, and you're just like exhausted, and the train is overpacked with people, and you're like, "How are you going to try to do this?" And now someone's like on your lap because they're trying not to get kicked in the face, and like the music is super loud, and you're just like, whoa.
And there's just like a 7-foot man swinging around a pole and doing God knows what, and like flinging their legs in the air and break dancing, and you just really want to listen to your audio book or whatever it is, and just dissociate, and you're just not allowed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard. And then you get off the train and there's like rats scurrying over your feet. It's like
the dirtiness. It's the dirt.
It's so
the grit.
dirty.
I mean, our friend, our mutual friend who we actually lived in the same house, and she lived in the downstairs apartment and we lived in the upstairs floor of this house. Yeah. Kind of said it best, where we have these medieval plagues in New York City. Like no one else is talking about rats and bed bugs and like, where are we living in Edgar Allan Poe?
This is like the fucking 1750s. Like,
why am I looking at a rat? I'm spending $2,100 for an apartment in deep Brooklyn where it takes me an hour to get everywhere, and it cost me this crazy premium to live there, and I'm looking at a rat?
It's funny you say that, because now I'm thinking about like going to mechanics, like auto body shops, and it like looks like a blacksmith's place. They're like, they have like a fucking anvil and they're hammering shit, and you're like, what is going on? Like, where do I live?
It looks like a big nail, and they're just like, hitting it. Dunk, and it's red like lava.
Dunk. They're like, what do you want?
But
you're like, oh my God.
Another part of it too is part of this, cult, this Ponzi scheme, this whatever we're calling New York City. I love when I said I wasn't going to like be talking never ending shit, is that it's really hard to leave. Part of it is psychologically hard to leave for a lot of people. People give it this kind of, I don't know, this edit as just being the say-all end-all of places. And if you leave it, it's a failure of sorts. It's like you couldn't make it there. You couldn't hack it. And nowhere else will ever feel as like locked in and as like part of stuff. Like a lot of great music comes out of there. A lot of great art. Like it's very finger on the pulse. And I get that. It's like when people are talking about things in culture, they're happening there. They're happening in LA. Like if you're talking about the most famous restaurant in the world, chances are it's there. And so there's these very big things happen in New York City. New York City is a big thing place. It's a big noise, right? So I think a lot of people feel like they've downgraded, or like they're somewhere less relevant. I guess relevance is like a thing. They feel that way if they leave. So there's that psychologically. There's also a bit of a Stockholm syndrome. There's this feeling where you've invested this much into it.
Yes.
And you've let it take this much from you, and you've gone through so much here, and you've trauma bonded with people so much that you can't leave now. Yeah. And that'll hold you for a few years. It held me for a few years for sure.
I feel like I know a lot of people.
And then it's expensive as hell to live there. So it's hard as hell to save.
Enough to move. Yeah. And moving's expensive.
It's difficult. It's difficult to get even the time off to start thinking about moving. I mean, you're constantly moving.
Yeah.
You're constantly schlepping. You're constantly somehow doing the crackhead dance of like, you don't know how the math adds up to how much your expenses cost, how much you're making, but somehow you're coming up with the money. Like I've always made this comparison. I'm actually sure I've done this on this podcast before, but living in New York reminds me of that show Intervention, where all of these drug addicts would be saying, I had a $60,000 a month drug habit.
What?
I'm exaggerating, but it's like they have like a $5,000 a week drug habit, and they'd like don't have a job and like their parents are like, where does this money come from?
They figure it out.
And that's kind of how living in New York is. It's like, I don't know how I have $2,100 in rent, but I'm over here a
21
barista.
Is like that. We
got it cheap because we were deep.
A bargain.
We were deep.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people were at 35 in for a 2-bedroom. Like, but that's a lot of money for someone who is working a barista
or
job.
Anyone. It's a lot of money for anyone, period.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess.
But I think it makes a difference when you're making barista or bartender money as opposed to like if you were, I don't know, in a corporate job or whatever.
Exactly.
But, so I don't know how you raise that money. If you try to think about it, you'll have no idea. But no idea. Month for month, you come up with it somehow. I don't know.
You find a way.
Who the hell you're blowing to get it, but
seriously, yeah,
the rats maybe.
But yeah, what you were saying as far as what's keeping you there as a musician, obviously, it was like for me, it's obviously an incredible pool of amazing talent, and it's like it was hard to imagine moving somewhere where there would be less of that. But Austin's great. Austin's full of a super diverse, and also there's a huge diversity of styles of music in New York, and that is a bit of a rare thing. So
there's a bit with New York, and you're a musician. I have lots of friends who are artists, and lots of friends who were trying to get into acting or theater or you name it, comedy. There is that access because you're in a big city. Like if you're trying to be a comedian, for example, people are going to like the Comedy Cellar or whatever to find talent, to find people for SNL. But you're also a drop in a bucket in a way that can be really crushing. Yeah. It can be really hard to distinguish yourself at all. Yeah. And as a musician, now that music is being less scouted in that really pure way, I think comedy still is to some extent. There's still people being called up to Montreal, and there's this kind of
there's a ladder,
rite of passage kind of thing. There's a ladder, and it's a distinct ladder. Yeah. For music, less so now. People are looking at your TikTok followings and you're streaming and whatever the hell. So there isn't that guy who's going to be like, we're taking you to Hollywood kind of thing. So you might be better served being in a smaller pool where if there is a tension around a certain scene, it's smaller and you can distinguish yourself more and you can elevate yourself more than one of the billion bands that's, working at kebab restaurants in New York City trying to get famous.
Yeah. I mean, and if we're doing pros and cons to cities, it's like Austin has, it can be laughable to me sometimes when I compare the two. I mean, New York offers you absolutely zero assistance for anything ever as a musician and artist.
Much the opposite. You're paying to play a lot of the time.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they take advantage of you as much as they possibly can. I mean, I'm sure there are a couple grants or whatever that the city does, but there is no access to that. Whereas Austin has like a $5 million pool of grants that they give out to artists every year. I mean, $5 million in Austin. And it's like, it's like $20,000 grants, $10,000 grants. Mm-hmm. Like that basically means everyone's getting a grant. I mean,
if you actually fill out the paperwork, which have you?
I haven't finished it yet, but
finishing
an album. Album's finished. Okay.
Fair.
But yeah, they have grants. I have free health insurance. Mm-hmm. This is the United States of America. Yeah. Musicians have free health insurance. It's not even hard to get. Like, that's insane. I mean, just those two things alone. I mean, the health insurance thing is insane.
It's crazy.
So it's like, it's a lot better to live here.
I mean, and let's just like get into the housing situation, right?
Yeah.
So I want to be as like one-to-one comparable as I can. So I'll take it out of the old days when I lived in New York and try to be as current as possible, right? So our last place in New York City, which is the closest to now, and it's not that long ago. It's like 4 years ago, and I'm sure it's comparable. Was in an area called
Windsor Terrace. Also, this was a diamond in the rough, by the way.
But let's
just say it was a
let's say place, let's give you this. I mean, this was a better deal than you can usually get, but these deals do exist. There's rent by owners all over Brooklyn, all over Queens. A rent by owner is just like, rather than it be a management company, which makes you have to pay 7 times, be able to show the income to pay 7 times the rent. Crazy. They just want you to do insane things. I mean, they essentially like, I don't know.
Your firstbborn child.
It's like you're trying to join the CIA to get in that apartment. Yeah. But there are just humans who own houses who rent them out to people. Yes. Who rent certain floors of them to people. My sister does that, for example. Yeah. She's a landlord. She rents out a room, and I'm sure it's more affordable than her neighbors who are management companies who are, basically making you go through what Clarice went through in Silence of the Lambs to be a CIA agent or FBI agent or whatever. But anyway, so we lived in a 1.5 bedroom apartment in an area called Windsor Terrace, which I told you, if you're anywhere further south than Park Slope, and Park Slope is a stretch, people consider that deep. Yeah. So Windsor Terrace is essentially just Park Slope. It's pretty close.
It's just the other side
of the slope. It's a mini neighborhood. Yeah. It's a mini neighborhood that's just that's why it's called a terrace. It's just a little area. It's not a very big block radius. Similar demographic too. A little bit more working class, I would say, than what a lot of Park Slope is now.
Some more leftovers from the...
Yeah. There's a little Ditmas creeping up. There's a little Church Avenue kind of scraping up there. Yeah. But it's a little more working class Irish, and it's very old school. It's not like a hip young area by any stretch of the imagination. So we're living there. To get to the city conservatively, the least it's going to take you is 40 minutes. Yeah. And that is being generous.
If you're going to Wall Street. Yeah.
If you're going to like super lower Manhattan, and you get the Q train, which is like an express, then maybe it'll take you 40 minutes on a good day. Generally, you're looking at an hour getting anywhere desirable, right? Even within Brooklyn, if I'm trying to get to Bed-Stuy or Bushwick or any of these areas that people hang out, Williamsburg, any of these areas that people hang out in Brooklyn, an hour.
Yeah.
Facts. That is very factual and conservative. Yeah. It could be more, could be a little less, but not much.
A little less if you're lucky, yeah.
So we live there, and the apartment is essentially a floor of this house, which has a kitchen, not huge, not the tiniest you ever see. You can walk in there, but you can't put a table in there necessarily. Right. And then we have a good sized living room that's attached to this like dining room area.
Good size by Brooklyn standards.
By Brooklyn standards. Yeah. And I think by a lot of big city standards, like I think you could probably compare it as being a decent size if you were in Boston or like Philly or something.
It's fine.
It's fine. And then the bedroom, again, fine, not tiny. You can fit a bed and a chair in there, let's say. And then Charlie's studio is more like a walk-in closet, I would say. Like
100%. I could touch either wall.
Renting
if I reached out,
that room out as a room to someone else would be a stretch.
Yeah.
You'd have to charge them $150.
They legally have to call it a half bedroom.
It's a half bedroom, right? So that's what we're living in, and that costs $2,100. $2,100. Right? And we explained the convenience to get to it. We explained the type of neighborhood it is.
And it's the third floor.
Working class, kind of deep. Third floor walk up. Old house, mind you.
Very old house.
No outside space. Blah, blah, blah. Cut to where we live now.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about where we live now. So we live in East Austin and quite deep in East Austin. So this is not like I wouldn't say it's like a very affluent neighborhood.
No,
but it's a convenient and increasingly hipper area to like live in East Austin is kind of like what it was like living in early Bed-Stuy. Like not early Bed-Stuy is a silly thing to say. Bed-Stuy as it's starting to gentrify.
Right.
So as Clinton Hill and Fort Greene, I'm like early Bed-Stuy. Yeah, I know. To people who are from Brooklyn are like, are you out of your mind?
Mike Tyson's going to come over.
I know. Like Eddie Murphy's going to be like, excuse me? No. Bed-Stuy, when me and my sister moved there, was still very much, all African-American neighborhood, Caribbean neighborhood, working class, nurses, whatever. And there was also like areas of it that were like very underprivileged, like not moneyed. But it was starting to trickle in the kind of more artsy Clinton Hill, Fort Greene vibe. And then also, over there. And Bed-Stuy's kind of nestled between Williamsburg and this like Fort Greene, downtown Brooklyn. Oh. So like we're kind of getting that Williamsburg vibe also dripping in. And now it's a lot of Bed-Stuy is heavily gentrified and very hipster and very, destination for restaurants and stuff. Yeah. I'm saying this because East Austin is also having that evolution. It was historically red line segregated until way too recently. So it was just Latinos and Black people living in East Austin, and the highway 35 was this dividing marker of where white people lived, where Black people lived. And that wasn't just unofficial. It also affected how the area was serviced, school zoning, they were not necessarily getting well-funded and taken care of on this side of things. But way before I got here, it has been going through this gentrification period. So there's this kind of half gentrified, half still the old school population is here, but it's desirable because it's really downtown adjacent.
Yeah.
On my electric bike, I can be downtown in 18 minutes, give or take. We're also close to this other area, Mueller, that has a lot of stuff, which was the old airport area, and it's really easy to get to. Basically, it's a really convenient area.
Super convenient.
And we're in a 4-bedroom house.
4-bedroom house. Yeah.
Not floor of a house.
With a backyard.
With a huge backyard. Every room is sizable. Every room could have a bed and other furniture in it. Charlie's studio is, will you explain your studio?
It was a 2-car garage that got converted and finished, and it's I mean, certainly by New York standards, it's a massive, massive room. Yeah, I've got a drum set, I've got an upright piano, I've got a studio area, I have synthesizers, I have a couch, it's huge. And then there's a huge closet in there. And what do we pay?
$1,800
a month.
So 1.5 bedrooms, super inconvenient, an hour to get anywhere. Also, as working class, hedging, gentrifying as here, probably. Maybe as many amenities close by as here, give or take. And we have a 4-bedroom apartment with a huge yard.
And I've never seen a rat in Austin.
I have not seen a rat
maybe
here.
Downtown.
I don't think I've seen a rat.
Even then, yeah. If I have, it's like once. Never. I've never seen a rat. I've never seen a rat in Austin.
I haven't seen a rat. And I have not had or heard of my friends having bed bugs, which is helpful. And it's everyone can have a deal like this here. I wouldn't say this is a rare find at this point.
Not at all.
No, you can definitely find houses, not just in our neighborhood. There's other areas that are really convenient to things like South Austin, has all of its own restaurants, bars, amenities, and you can find really great deals on houses, huge yards. You could live downtown and pay $1,800 for one bed. Yeah. You can live on South Congress and pay $2,000, you know? So when people try to make that comparison, like Austin is so unaffordable, it is, cost of living is high. It's going out to eat, coffee shops, bar, that's all really comparable to New York City. And I'm not going to lie to you about that.
Surprisingly comparable.
I've heard that before COVID, it was like a little less crazy.
Austin had a big pop during COVID, as most people probably know. It had a huge, huge pop, huge influx of people, and then a huge hightail where a lot of people left shortly thereafter. And I think like a lot of restaurant groups came in and invested in the city or whatever. I hate putting it that way. A lot of restaurant groups came in to try to suck as much money out of it as they possibly could. And then now that a lot of people, now that crazy growth isn't happening as much, they're like scrambling and doing everything but actually lowering their prices.
I know. The funny move in Austin is this crazy happy hour situation. It's like have really crazy, inequitable, insane, sometimes a little crazier than New York prices on things, and then throw away your money for free or your food for free at certain times of the week where you're not busy. Yeah. And then so who's going to go there on a normal day now? There are a lot of places that are like, so the burger is $25 with no fries. But if you come in on Sunday,
we'll pay you to eat it.
We'll pay you money to eat it, and we'll give you a beer.
And we'll send your mom flowers.
And that kind of seems to be the business model. And until recently, I was working in restaurants here, and I saw the decline of the restaurant industry. Yeah. I was working in a restaurant one year, the next year, less business, the next year, less business, and then out of business. And a lot of us in the West 6 area just saw business in general on that street completely declining because people were just charging insane inequitable prices because they thought Austin's in this boom, and the boom went bust.
Yeah.
I will say our house would have been a few more $100s when we first moved here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The hightail out of Austin, partially because of weather, partially because people thought it was going to be some version of LA that it's not. It is not. Austin does not have the convenience. So I just said everything is a pain in the ass in New York City.
Right.
But it's a hard thing to explain.
Right.
The infrastructure in Austin is not so well developed. There's little things it's not super easy to order food here.
It's pretty impossible.
Places closed. I mean, random times of week.
Yeah, you can use Uber Eats, but I just can't believe anyone does that. It's so expensive.
There isn't this like 24/7. You can get whatever you want anytime. There isn't that. No, you got to plan your shit.
Yeah, you can't even go to restaurants on Monday. No, I'm kidding. You can, but
half the restaurants are closed until Wednesday. And
my phone is almost going to die. Just FYI.
Okay. Well, we're getting close. We're winding.
Realized I forgot to charge.
We're winding.
I know. Yeah.
If you have another 5, I think we can kind of wrap up.
I think I can make it. It might die, but that's okay. I'll just be all audio for the rest of it.
Okay, sounds good. Charlie will be in the dark. Now, I think we're getting to a point.
Yeah. So, sorry to interrupt.
I will say, if you are the kind of personality who just wants to be able to, order something right to your door, Monday night, you're just like, I want my favorite tacos at the whole city. It's probably not going to work out for you. That kind of convenience, this is not the city for it.
And you can't walk. Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's not a super walkable city. It's not walkable at all. People try to sell you on this thing called the Domain or walking around in Mueller, and those are essentially they're living malls.
They built it for people to walk. Yeah, it's literally made by Simon, who owned all the malls in the country.
Yeah,
and now they own all the whatever they're calling them now. Whatever they're malls. They're just outdoors.
And you know what I realized? Like, people talk about it like it's this innovative thing. It's like, oh, it's like a mall, but it's like you can walk around and it's outside. But like, if anyone who has familiarity of being in London, there are so many areas like that. Yeah. It's like there's a piazza and there's a bunch of stores and you just walk around there.
They have that in LA too, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of places that are drivey places have those, so it's not new to here, but it's not the same as the urban diversity you have in New York City for like taking these long walks and just kind of like wandering forever and ever. I really do miss that.
That is a loss.
That is one thing I miss. But listen, if you want things to just like come to you easy any time of day, 24/7, Austin is not the place. People are very about their work-life balance, and it's more life than it is work.
Yeah.
Coffee shops are going to be talking about we open at noon. Don't ask. They're going to be talking about we open at noon, we close at 12:30. And by the way, it takes about 45 minutes for them to make you a coffee because everyone's very chill, and you have to learn how to be chill too. And that's been a journey for us, and we're not there. It can be hard. Like,
so hard.
When you're thinking, I just want to grab a coffee, and then go on my hike, just understand you may be there for 22 minutes. Yeah. And when I was a barista in Bed-Stuy, I took that long. I was living in Bed-Stuy and that line would have been into Manhattan. Yeah. Because that is not a thing you're allowed to do in New York, is take 20 minutes to make a coffee because you're on your chat. They always have 9,000 people working there.
So many people.
It was just me being the barista and I was fast. But they always have 7 people. I think the 3 of them are just handing the cup along.
100%.
Anyway, I don't want to get into the minutia, but we did leave and it cost us a lot of money
to get here.
And it took a lot of planning, and it felt kind of like loading up a cannon and just like shooting yourself out of it and like throwing caution to the wind a little and just being like, we just got to get out. But we built that momentum between each other. And I think COVID had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Also, finally maxing out our lives there. And just, we had the best version we could have possibly had.
Right.
We had our favorite apartment in our favorite neighborhood. We had all of our friends, just a chef's kiss of friends. Everything was like on lock and something was still off.
It was still,
and we're like, we got to go.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah. If you're in New York and you're like, damn, I can't stand it here. You can leave. You don't have to stay.
You don't have to
stay. There is a whole, there is a vibe. There is everyone wants to keep you there too, with them. Don't leave. We have to be here. We have to be here. This is the only place.
And I do remember when people would move away a lot and they would come visit, they would always kind of just be in this cycle of being like, and I used to go here and I used to go there. And all their stories that I would see them telling when I would go visit them were about New York this time. And there's like, is this just where it all is? Is this just where it all happens? And when you move, you're just constantly talking about here, Yeah. And I do tell a lot of stories about New York, but a lot of them are trauma stories. And I think what I'm realizing is like, it is just something you go through. And if you haven't done it, you can't understand it and it just stays with you. But that doesn't mean you got to be there forever.
Yeah,
maybe it's best to go live in a nice, happy place that suits you and tell those stories to your grandkids for years to come. Or maybe it's perfect for you and stay there, but it wasn't for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Not quality of life forward, that's for sure.
No. We maxed it out and it was still mid.
I agree.
Anyway, I think we can leave it on there.
God bless you. This was brought to you by the Housing Association of Austin, Texas. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Can you imagine?
We have some great home investment opportunities if you guys are
Meanwhile, all the native Austinites are like, don't come here.
Yeah,
what?
Seriously.
Like, they don't want you here.
I know.
They're not so bad with New Yorkers. I think the LA people are.
They didn't like the LA people.
Yeah. Some of them don't like us either. But I think generally people who move from New York come here for what Austin is.
Yeah.
We leave New York because there are things we don't want about New York to move to Austin for things we do. But I think a lot of the LA transplants left New York because a homeless person started to live on their stoop and like throw poop at them or whatever. And they feel like they had to leave, but they actually loved LA the way it was.
Yeah, they wanted to
and
make
so they
Austin
thought
LA.
that they could make Austin in LA.
Yeah.
And we're not trying, we don't want New York to be here.
Or LA.
Even the New York that lives in me, I want to get out of me.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah, we're performing exorcisms daily.
We're trying to leave it all behind. So that's the difference between New York transplants to Austin and LA transplants.
Should we,
Austin.
When we edit this, should we put like New York on right now? Like da, 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 da.
Only exactly like that, in that ominous way. I'm going to end on that. You just going da, 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 da.
It'll be like a movie trailer where they like echo it out. Oh, it's going to be good.
And fade out. Thanks for coming, Charlie. I almost called you Sly. That's our dog's name. Anyway.
That's not my name.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.